Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon from Saigon, Vietnam. We are going to look at the third webinar in 1 month about flights into Vietnam, best practices and latest updates for flights from and to Vietnam, but we will focus on flights to Vietnam. At the moment, there are about 15 attendees in the webinar, and I would like to extend a special warm welcome to Frederic, the General Manager of Qatar Airways for Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. Thank you a lot for making time. He is in the, I'm going to say, in the waiting room, in the dressing room, and ready to give his story and latest updates to you. And also to Evert Visser. Evert Visser is a DBAV board member in Hanoi, and also a Eurojam vice chair, of course, also in Hanoi, because that's where he lives. Over the past few weeks, Evert has helped quite a few DBAV members, Eurojam members, and eventually also a few non-members sometimes, so he can also share his expertise. Looking at the schedule for today, we need a new slide. There we go. This is the starting lineup. It's the three of us. My name is Guido, and I will walk you through the webinar and moderate questions. I see that Up and Els are already using the chat function. This is where you can easily ask your questions. When we look at the content of this webinar, it will be a lot shorter, I think, than the webinar of last week and the week before then. There are also not as many attendees. That doesn't make it specifically less important, but we see a few things. One is that the current regulations that are in place will remain in place until 16 September, and we have all treated those in online events that are displayed on YouTube. We also have quite an extensive Google Drive knowledge base with documents in there, so you can just go through that if you have any thing that you are concerned about. Of course, there are a few updates. I will leave that for Evert and for Frederic, especially from an operational side. It is always, there's always something to say. And of course, there will be individual questions that you may want to ask. So we go to the next slide now, and that says, well, if you have any questions, then you can ask them in the Q&A throughout the webinar. What we have done in previous webinars, in the first webinar, we handled more than 30 questions, and in the second one, that was about half of those. I will, in the meantime, when we do this webinar, also hold a few polls about basically sort of defining who you are, if you are looking for a flight yourself, or if you have already booked your ticket, or have reasons why you are watching this event. So I will also have some questions for you during the presentations of Evert and Fred. So important to know that the webinar will be recorded. That means that if there's valuable information that you think, hey, someone else is, for example, help with that, do refer them to our YouTube channel. All the content that we provide is free of charge. We don't know if we're going to do that in the future just the same, but for now it seems like a generous offer for us to make to the European business community. And also check the post reads that I will send tomorrow after this webinar. Program, very rough program. This is first my introduction from the DBAV. I would like to, before I give the microphone to Frederic, talk a little bit further about the service that DBAV provides for people that are looking to get into Vietnam and looking to have that process guided. So that is something that I will share with you now. This is the DBAV entry permit service. I will also highlight that in the post read that we are going to share to you. What we do for expats or Dutch people, Europeans, or it actually doesn't really matter where you are from. If you are seeking to return to Vietnam and you can qualify as a foreign expert, then we can help you get your paperwork done. We offer a package: visa application, entry permit, immigration approval, and quarantine plan approval. We are now helping a few customers with that, and so far so good. The price is clear. Of course, there's no success guarantee, and there will be terms and conditions that apply. So we need to pick up contact and talk about the situation that you specifically are in. and we take it from there. And usually in the first conversation, we can do some diagnostics and basically tell you if we can help you or not. So please, if you're interested in that, please email to support@dbav.org.vn. Then the questions that were asked upon registration is absolutely none. So that is also something new. That is why we are also stopping the webinar on a weekly basis. And we will, of course, email the database of people that have found us when we will restart the webinar. And that will be around the 16th of September. Probably 1 week before, when we know what's going to change, whether or not the regulations will be lighter or heavier or the same. That's that from my side. Please do ask your questions in chat. Frederic, can you come online, please?
Good evening, everyone.
Fantastic. Yeah, good evening. I will give the screen to you.
Very good. Is that my master or? Is that my slide or is that my screen? I'd like to share my screen. I don't think it's my presentation. I have my. Can I share my own screen?
Yeah, totally. You can just click on the.
I share your screen.
Yeah, I will stop this.
Oh, I have to add to Chrome something. Sorry. Add extension.
No worries at all. You could, if you want to, you can. You have the microphone, then the camera, then on the right side it says View Sharing Options. There you can use to share your screen.
Okay, sorry. Where is it now?
And he's back.
Okay, good. Sorry
No
about
worries
that.
at all. Yep, and our presentation,
Okay.
then we are good to go.
Okay, super. Okay, so I'm not sure in this meeting how many people were there the weeks before. So anyway, I'll go quick on what we said last time, and I will stop on the new items I've added in my presentation.
Sorry to interrupt, but what I see, there are 18 attendees, of which about half of them are new. I will also ask that in a poll. But you can really skip to the new stuff, really, because the old stuff they can look out at on YouTube.
Very good, excellent. So I think what I've added to the presentation is basically this slide. First of all, before I move there, let me just make you a recap of the last, let's say, like success. So last Sunday, we have brought in, as usual, the Sunday rotation is the rotation we're using to bring in customers from all over the world. We even had like 2 customers coming from Kuala Lumpur. Can you imagine Kuala Lumpur, Doha back to Ho Chi Minh City? Even same, we had also some teachers also coming from Australia all the way from Doha back to Ho Chi Minh City. So it was 44 customers we brought in. I must say that this flight, this rotation has been very stressful. I received actually some phone call the whole afternoon until 7:30 p.m. And for some reason, because the landing permit for this flight was only approved, I think, by the civil aviation at 7:20 local time Vietnam, which is actually afternoon time in Europe. But that's the time where our customers are actually checking in from Amsterdam, Paris, everywhere. So some of the customers were like basically at the check-in gate with the gate about to close within 10-15 minutes and wondering why they could not board yet the flight to Doha and then to Ho Chi Minh City. And that was because the landing permit was not approved yet. We have to understand that obviously the civil aviation have to receive our landing permits request together with a list of passengers, but also together with all the required documents as per the local authorities. As we know, People's Committee's approval, immigration approval, CDC approval, hotel booking approval, transportation approval, insurance approval, and now since the 5th of August, the COVID test also approval. So imagine 55 customers. The size of the document can be like a few megabytes. So I cannot tell you how many emails we've been sending to each other. The issue we've been facing internally in terms of inbox full, a real technical nightmare. So this is why we have sat with the team, airport team, sales team together last Monday to ensure that we work together better with our customers to meet the timeline. Because sometimes, you want to help one customer because he commits to you that he's going to get this final document by Monday evening or Tuesday evening or Friday, Wednesday morning, and we want to help everyone. But when we wait for one customer to be added to the list, we delay the whole list. So the customer who have finished all the process like a week ago and arrives at the check-in in Amsterdam, maybe we'll have to wait until last minute because we have been helping another customer who has been giving us his documents very last minute. So if you will be one of those customers traveling in with us in the coming few weeks, please be very understanding of the situation. We want to help you out, but we have also own deadlines to meet. So this is why I've done this last slide together with the team. The first recommendation is that we only make for you a booking from the moment you have People's Committee's approval. From the moment you're on that list, from the People's Committee's approval, then we can work together on a booking. And we recommend you don't be too rushed to come to Vietnam. You will get there. We ask you depart in the next coming 3 weeks. So take 3 week later, and you'll be safe because 3 week later you will have. Let me go through it. So that's number one here. So People's Committee, as we know, is a prerequisite. Number two, will give you basically the booking for you to start the process with immigration and CDC. Okay, so as I said, I recommend here 3 weeks for that. I advise also very strongly, even though it looks too early for you, we advise you to take already right away a real-time PCR test appointment in the lab. That appointment has to be taken on the Monday of the week you're going to fly. You take it right away. From the moment you have your booking, you make that appointment already at the lab, and you ensure that the lab can give that booking, that the results to you the next day on Tuesday. Because if you wait, sometimes people, customers wait for all the papers to be ready, and then they will make the booking. They will find a lab, and they realize that actually, it's not so easy to find an appointment, and not every lab will be able to provide me the results within the next day. So please take your appointments with the lab for the real-time PCR test on Monday. Ensure you get that result to us. The results must be sent to us on Tuesday, anytime, but Tuesday, Europe time. In the night, my team will process the final PCR test received. And please, also a small detail, it has to clearly mention on the results, real-time PCR test, negative, and the date of the results. That's what the civil aviation will look at. They will ensure that the PCR test has been done within 7 days prior to arrival. So that's very important, obviously, please. So the deadline, we have to be firm on the deadline. Aside of the PCR results, every other document has to be sent to us on the Friday, the week before. Because in theory, you will all leave on the week W on the Friday, arrival on Sunday. So 1 week before you depart, you need to send us all the documents. And sometimes, like the earlier the better, because sometimes we maybe discover that in one document something is wrong. So you need also like some time if you have to redo it. So that's very important. And again, I explained today to a very understanding customer today. Thank you, chocolate from a customer who was coming from Manila.
You should amend the timeline.
No, but I'm in the call now. So the airport team, when they submit the list to the civil aviation, they will put all customer in one go. We cannot just add an extra customer after we submit all the list. That is very important. So this is why, sometimes people are like, it's only one document. Why can't you add me? If we do that, it's going to confuse the civil aviation, and they have only 2 days to review all the documents. So that's what I wanted to add. This slide, hopefully it will be even clearer for you who are going to come into Ho Chi Minh City. And once we get the landing permit approved again, if we get it approved as planned on Thursday evening, then my airport team can send that notification approval to all the outstations in Europe, in Amsterdam, for instance. So then when you arrive at the check-in counter on Friday morning, you're relaxed. You know that already OK to board has been given to the airport team, and you don't have to wait until last minute. So that's the ideal plan. Let's see if it will be better this week. I'll let you know in our next webinar. But that's what we've been agreeing with the team together with the customers. I've added also a few Q&As extra. I mentioned already about the real-time PCR test. I want to add again another one. These questions, that one keep coming all the time. If my company is based in another district, are you sure that I need to get people's committees approval from both Ho Chi Minh City and my province? And same for the CDC. And again, we keep repeating the same answer. Unfortunately, we have been instructed by civil aviation to get both the approval from Ho Chi Minh City and your province for the People's Committee and the CDC. So we again insist on that point. Recently, also we've got questions about I have already a work permit and also a resident visa. Do I really need again to get approval from the migration? And we confirm again that as per the civil aviation contact we're having, that the officer advised us that even if you have a work permit and a resident visa, you still need to get an approval from the immigration. So again, it's not something that we, Qatar Airways, is asking, is that we need just to comply to our partners, local partners and local authorities requirements. So yeah, so that's it, I think, for the main updates compared to last week. And if anything is missing, I guess we'll have this on the Q&A.
Presentation. Again, all of this information will be shared in the post read, so it's not necessary to make screenshots or anything such. There's only one question from Christophe, and I've held 2 polls in the meantime. So I will start with the question. Okay, the question from Christophe has been answered. Exactly, that's what we got to. The question was indeed about the various districts. He's in Binju, and then he needs to get. And that the damn thing is obviously that not all people committees are as quick and as cooperative as the Ho Chi Minh City People Committee. Is that right, Fred? Can you confirm that?
Yes, and sometimes yeah, different people's committee, different interpretation. But again, when you talking to my team, please we can check it out. But we check again this morning again with the airport colleagues, and they insist after talking with the civil aviation that both should be provided: people's committee from the province where your company is based, and from Ho Chi Minh City, and again the same from CDC. But last time, as Ewart rightly mentioned, it keeps changing. I hope that during next meeting, I can share with you some simplified process. I was sharing, for instance, with Ewart that I wish civil aviation would allow the customers to provide the PCR test at the time of check-in at the airport. So that would give at least a full 5 days for the customers to go to the lab on any time from Monday and provide the PCR test at check-in. But at the time being, it has been strictly instructed from the civil aviation that we have to submit that document together with all the other documents, which is latest Tuesday evening. So sorry again about that, but I hope again that things will be softened, but for the time being, that's the latest news I have.
Absolutely, yeah. That is indeed a frustrating thing for many of us that recently put in regulation that was put in place, I believe, let me see, when was that put in place? July 24?
Yeah, the 5th of August,
yeah, the 5th of August, and the dispatch was July 24, and it says 3 to 7 days prior to the date of entry into Vietnam, you need to get it done. But the timing is very prudent there, and of course, not every country can not every departing country has laboratories that can comply with that so easily.
Yeah.
Should someone miss their PCR test, their corona test, does that have consequences for your flight ticket, or can you then rebook it?
Yes, so yes, it's a good question. So we had a few customers indeed that either got a test, but the test was not clearly mentioning that it was a real-time PCR test, or customers who provided us the results, but only on Wednesday early morning. But again, it was too late. We could not receive, even if we received on Wednesday afternoon. So what we do is that we transfer your booking to the next Sunday without any cost. But obviously, there will be some extra work for the customer. And I'm sorry about that again. They will have to go to immigration in case the approval mentioned a specific flight on a specific day. It will have to be changed to the new flight. Same also for the CDC approval. I guess this has to be changed because you will have a special transportation that will take you from the airport directly to the hotel, so that you have also to change. And also the hotel booking will have to be changed. So I'm sorry about that, but that will be that will have to be done. But again, I must again say that and we have to also to understand civil aviation. When I see the various number of documents they have to approve and check, they have been very cooperative to us. As I said, 5 landing permit approved out of 5. That's great. It has been stressful for the customers and for us, but in the end, every customer that have purchased a ticket with us and submitted the received entry permit has been now has been flying with us without any issue, whether on the same flight or the next flight. So the most important is once you have the documents, at some point you will get.
That is a good thing. Exactly, it will all be all right in the end as long as you get your ticket and work to get your documents. Yeah. All right. We also see a question from Christophe. Very short. Do we see less authorization? Are the people committees more nervous since the Da Nang outbreak? Very short. What do you have to say about that, Fred?
If you ask my team, I don't think they see less workload. Actually, we've been even actually trying to push away some customers. I give an example. We've been now focusing on Europeans. As I told you, we had some Asians coming from Hong Kong, Japan, and even some, and now we have like some Americans. But with Americans, it's even more complex because of the time zone. So we're trying to find another solution, maybe another flight only for the American traffic. But if you ask me, is it going to be eased? I have no clue. I just bet that last time, for the NOTAM was valid until mid-June, and I think we knew it on the day itself about the extension. So I think that also it will take time also for the local authorities to decide, and probably will get the notification of the extension or not of the current NOTAM maybe very late, a few days or before the 15th or 16th of September. Don't expect something to be announced like 1 or 2 weeks before, because again, as we saw with Da Nang outbreak, anything can happen, like in a week's time. So probably yes, we'll get the news very late. Now I have some customers. They can now, if you go on the Qatar Airways website, you can buy already inbound tickets. Because the NOTAM is valid until 16th of September, we allow customers now to buy return from 16th of September. But when people ask me, I tell them sincerely, I mean, if you're in a rush, don't buy the ticket right away. Just wait for the NOTAM to be extended or not, and then you'll be able to purchase your return ticket or not. But I think it's too early to buy a return ticket beyond 16th of September.
Okay,
at this stage.
That is perfect. Just before I move to Ebert, can you log on, please? Yes, perfect. I would like to just share 2 results of the poll that we have. Hi, Ebert. Hi, we see you. The poll, the first poll that I put out was: is this the first time you're watching? 9 people said no. 2 people said yes. So we don't have to repeat ourselves. There are. The people that are watching new can also check on YouTube and on the post reads in Google Drive that I will share tomorrow. The reason they are watching is quite interesting. Some are actively looking for a ticket for themselves, otherwise are looking for someone else. Then 2 answers are for general interest in this topic. And maybe I should have put in the answers that I have already bought a ticket and maybe looking for some updates. I think that could bring other and the top and the bottom option together. What do you think, Iwit?
Yeah, that's a good question, because indeed now we do the webinar every week, and then indeed for the next webinar we can include all these items as well.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for coming on. There are a few updates from your side, but not too many. Also some news to share, right?
Yeah, so maybe firstly to add also to what Fred mentioned. It's very important that people start preparing their documentation well in advance. So preferably indeed 3 or 4 weeks in advance. Yeah. And also it's very important to remember that in the past, for example, if you need your work permit or your visa, it's just, okay, I need this document, this document, this document, I submit, I get my paper. But here, you first have to do the entry permit, the immigration approval, the Department of Health approval, and then again you have to submit it to your airline, and your airline has to submit it again to the Civil Aviation Authority. So some people, they thought, okay, I have all my paperwork in order, so I can fly. But as Fred mentioned, the Civil Aviation Authority will check all these documents very careful. So, for example, if your COVID test does not meet the requirements set out by the government, you cannot be boarding. And that could mean indeed that it will be on the day of departure or just a day before departure that you know, hey, oh, sorry, I cannot fly, I have to change my flight. But here also there is a bit of difference in documentation issued by the government. For example, now I see some immigration approvals issued in Hanoi. They actually do not specify a specific flight or a specific date you have to enter. So they give, for example, a period, for example, 3 or 4 months that you are allowed to enter Vietnam. So that makes it a little bit easier in case your flight has any delay because you cannot meet all the paperwork requirements, that you don't have to ask again for the immigration approval. And so you could just change your flight to the next date and then, for example, do your COVID test and still fly next time. So, yeah.
Government, right?
Yeah, so Eurocham has submitted last week for the first time a list of passengers to the Office of Government. And as the signals are so far, it seems that we will be successful in getting the approvals, but we will get the official notification soon. So it's difficult to say if it will be approved or not, but so far so good. And if that works the first time, we will try to make this a facility as well for the BAV and Eurocham members. This is especially relevant if there are cases, for example, the expert together with the family members. So the expert may be able to get approval, but the family members not. And in those times, an application, for example, through the central government will be more useful and probably will help you to get your approvals in order.
Yeah. Okay, that's something good, something that's hopeful.
And this, so for these things, in our next webinar, we will be more clear about how it all goes. Because now, indeed, like Fred mentioned, like we know that on 16th of September, the current restrictions on the airspace, I mentioned in the notice to airmen, will run out. But we don't know exactly what will happen. So will it, will at the end of August, will we get new information, or will it be exactly on the 16th of September? So that's why for now we are a little bit like wait and see to see what happens. And hopefully indeed around the 16th of September, we can give more specific information.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've asked for a last round of questions. There are also not so many questions as of now. Again, if you need help with getting all your paperwork done, and if you want to make sure that experienced people are handling your case, then please let us know. We have a service for it. You do know that Qatar Airways booking office is also standing ready The number of passengers has reduced, but that doesn't mean it's not a busy time for them, because they pay a lot of attention to every individual customer.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful that you're here to speak to customers directly, Fred.
Yeah.
But yes, I think again, Christoph's question about was very interesting. As long as the airlines who are doing this are really providing on time all documentations, I don't see less authorizations from the People's Committee. As long as we all do like a great job together, and I think we gain the trust of the local authorities. I don't believe. I think again, you know, like for the Vietnamese, they will have to go to specific quarantine center arranged by the governments. Whereas and that could be an issue maybe because of the limitation in terms of quarantine center. But for us, for the foreign workers, as long as there is rooms in the quarantine hotels, should be good to welcome foreign experts. So as long as we do a good job and airlines are giving proper on-time documentation, I think we'll still get the support of the civil aviation.
Yeah, but again, that is quite subjective, right? That is looking into the future, and we just don't know what the future is going to bring.
Maybe Fred, I can ask you, do you also have any updates on entry of Vietnam nationals to Vietnam? Because as I understand, it's still very restrictive.
Yeah, on that one also, I have no clue. Last time we're working now with the Vietnamese ambassador in Mozambique. They are trying to support Vietnamese. It's going to be a very complex trip where they will like drive 1,000 kilometers to Johannesburg. From Johannesburg, take a special charter flight into Doha and then connect into the commercial flight of Ho Chi Minh City. But we are ready to welcome them. But I think it's more complex for the Vietnamese again because there's a special care for the Vietnamese in special centers, and I think it is a little bit different from the foreigners. So, but as I said, we've been sending a letter to a few ambassadors in the network, and again sharing with them that we have our aircraft coming empty, and if we can support them, we'll be glad to do so.
Yeah, that would be very helpful for many people indeed. And perhaps also useful to mention that for the COVID test requirements, indeed, that the timeline is very strict, and especially it seems in Holland still a difficulty to arrange. And maybe perhaps another point to mention is that for example, this week we had a few cases. You can call them they are stuck. And what happens is actually that the procedure in, for example, Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh, Haiphong, Binh Duong is sometimes different. And so in different provinces, you need to apply to different offices. So my recommendation is also in case as a company or as an individual you are stuck, it's very important that you also ask around, for example, with the DBAV or Qatar Airways, to say, okay, I have this and this approvals. But for example, the People's Committee does not give me this paper. Do you have any suggestion? But for example, today also we had a Dutch company. They were stuck in the process. They couldn't get on the flight. They missed one document. They didn't know what to do. But then by asking other people, they could find the answer. And that's, I think, very important because at this moment we are working with a procedure that's almost constantly changing. And it's also different from province to province. So in case you have any difficulty and you are unable to complete the paperwork and unable to get the ticket, that you also ask the expertise of, for example, the airline or the DBAV.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have any concerns or if you're experiencing problems, share those because there oftentimes is another way out.
I was reading in the news that there was a Vietnamese airline have sent a petition to the civil aviation to resume international flights. So hopefully, if that happens, that would be really helpful for the Vietnamese. Me right now, what we face, the key challenge is we have some foreign experts whose partner is Vietnamese. Yeah. And that's an issue because cannot unless the partner can be mentioned at the People's Committee's approval. Otherwise, I will only be able to bring in the foreign experts.
Yeah, that's still an issue indeed. That's why also I was asking indeed if you have any updates on this, because also for DBAV we see that issue that indeed the expert is able to come, but then in some cases indeed the Vietnamese family member is not approved, or in some cases the dependent is still not approved, and that's still an issue. It seems that indeed for the expert itself, if they come as an individual, they are okay. Indeed, sometimes they get stuck in the process, but we are able to help them just by understanding their situation and giving them guidance. But for dependents, it's still sometimes a challenge.
Yeah. But we had some good examples. I think we have a few cases, again, not so many, of where the expert is already in Vietnam and the family is stuck abroad, where they could get approval from the People's Committee. So it's not impossible, but it's maybe like a little more difficult when they travel without the expert.
Yeah. That's why also for us, our recommendation is still that if it is possible, let the expert and his family members travel together. It seems
exactly. Much better.
It's still easier.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
Yeah. So one question from Joost from Royal Haskoning, and then I think it's good to close the webinar. Basically, we need to be corona tested in the Netherlands on Monday and return the PCR results by Tuesday, COB Vietnam time.
Yeah, thank you, Joost. That's exactly your challenge. Not only you, but all our European customers. You need to get that well done on Monday early morning. So this is why from the moment you receive your booking, you already book your PCR test with the right lab. And as I said again, ensure the results clearly mentions real-time PCR test, negative, and then you're good.
Fred, is there also any requirement on language of the test result form? For example, must it be in English, or is any language okay?
No, I think as long as you have those specific words, I think they will be because we have like some in French, I have some in different languages. But on this one, they have been flexible. The civil aviation, they don't require like any legalization or translation. So they've been flexible on that part. But at least it has to be a few keywords. It's the same for the insurance. I've got often the question about the insurance. What insurance basically is requested? So the insurance is, I think, what we look here. And again, civil aviation has been very cooperative on that one. As long as you have like inpatient coverage, I think that's what is the most important. And usually you can have either this one or a proper letter with a stamp from the company saying that they would cover all the hospital costs in case the customer would be positive on arrival. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, guys. We're repeating things now because that is already in the pre-read, post-read. Thanks very much for attending, especially to Fred and Ewert. It's very great that you are updating everybody so much. This is a good knowledge database for the coming month, I think. And
come back to all the audience to come back to our event in the middle of next month. I think that one will have very interesting updates. Yes.
Yeah, you're speaking about the event that we will organize around 16 September. Yeah, absolutely. And when there are other updates, then we will share those in writing for sure with the audience. Okay, thanks, guys. Thanks very much. Thanks to everybody who's watching, and see you in about a month.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye.